education now is going to become an organized, and we praise all the inclusions and focus given to early childhood care as it brings to light the importance of early learning, which plays a vital role, as we all know, a very important role in building a foundation for lifelong learning and for the well-being of a child. So I would start the some challenges we are going to face. I would start it with the as my dear educators they have already addressed the language conundrum. I would like to start it with the language conundrum. You see, the promotion of mother tongue in education system till class 5 is a welcome step. Yet, it is, I think, it's going to be a challenge for us as the teaching material available only in few standard languages. So, the implementation would be required on more content in most of the language as well as tribal languages too. Additionally, the social workers, the helpers, the teachers, we have to recruit and hire them from only the local areas, and that means limit their job opportunities out of their state. So thereby it's going to restrict their opportunity of earning the bread and butter smoothly. And furthermore, I would like to convey the one more challenge in this language conundrum. Like we all are aware, well aware about the fact that it's easier for a child to grasp language at the young age. Hence, restricting them to only one language, I think it will keep them away from the possibilities of good communication too. And the second major area I would like to address is going to be the accessibility. I mean, accessibility, it's a very, for me, it's a very wide and various term. If I see the guidelines and if I would check the National Education Policy 2020, like accessibility in terms of school reaching, cognitive practices, socio-emotional, ethical practices, cultural practices. So they are very vital, as the NEP states, for the strong foundation of a strong foundation of a child in his early childhood, as the UNEP promises. So today in India, even at the age of 3, at least 7 out of 10 are enrolled, and I think it's a quite big, good score. Yet we have to go far and making it up to 100%. So here the families face the decision on where to send their child. So the NEP 2020 proposes a bigger school, as we are all aware about the fact that schools are going and are remodeled and school readiness programs are all there. So which will make, I think it will make harder, a bit harder for the economically weaker section of uh, society to reach the school due to the distances, or due to some other factors too, thereby curbing the accessibility of the schools. And next in the line, I think the accessibility in terms of the availability of the resources, which is going to be a major challenge for all of us. You see, the allowing of formation of large scale school is not a big issue, as it is one time investment, but the sustenance and maintenance of well equipped school would again be the another challenge. Like suppose if any instrument or any equipment get malfunction, definitely the student would not be able to access it until it is repaired, reinstalled, or replaced very soon. So the corrective action plan is needed in this situation, and which seems to be practically very hard in uh, achieving in a multi-layered system of approval and fund sanctioning. So the kind of delay, it demands a quick way forward so as not to interrupt the learning of a child. And moreover, in addition to it, the people teacher ratio, I would like to mention here the PTR would pose a major concern for us. Currently, it is 30 ratio 1 or 25 ratio 1. But to achieve the overall development as the NAP 2020 promises, I think this is going to pose a big challenge for us. The children, people, and teacher ratio, it seems to be practically less. So, the teachers have to handle the very sensitive and delicate part of our cutie pies. So that's why I'm mentioning that this 30 ratio 1 is going to be practically very less. And the next is the accessibility of the stage. As we all know, it's very practical and very common trend that the stage is provided to the children who are very active and who are very easy to handle. But what about those who are very shy, who are average or mediocre child? They hardly get a chance to bloom over the stage. So here it takes a it takes a immense patience and the lot of responsibilities on the teachers, on the workers, on the helpers to get the shy, the average, the mediocre child to bring them to the front line. So this accessibility and the accessibility in the more human resources, the more hats we will need to handle the very delicate part, the 0 to 3 or 3 to 5 years children. So that as we all are aware that we can't handle the small toddlers and the very early child, uh, because they are very complex, they are master of their own. We cannot we cannot teach them just by giving the instructions. And we know they are very sensitive yet very complex to handle. So they can be handled only with the love, care, and the passion. So in this regard, I would mention that we just don't need the heads. We need the heads who are very caring, very passionate, enthusiastic, well trained, in fact, well trained and dedicated too. And we would need such kind of heads, and definitely the lastly with a good heart who can handle the very sensitive and delicate part of our society. So those were some major areas, in my view of point, are the concern which we may have to face. So that's all was from my side. Thank you. Thanks once again to all of you. Listen me patiently. Thank you.
Thank you, Aruchi ji. You talked about the reaching out all the students would be a challenge, and you also talked about the teacher-student ratio. So, absolutely. So, we need more and more teachers, trained teachers, in fact, to overcome these challenges. So, thank you, Aruchi ji. I'll come back to you with questions. Now, I would request Jaswinder ji, over to you. Your interpretation.
Thank you so much, Rajulji, for this opportunity again. Okay, so I am going to touch upon the language component under the NEP 2020. I'm also going to talk about certain other things which have been put up by my previous speakers. That include Sangeeta ma'am, Kavita ma'am, Bhavna ma'am, and Ruchi ma'am. Very beautifully said by Sangeeta ma'am that, social learning has to happen. She gave example of cleanliness. So I would like to give you an example. In Japan, small kids, toddlers clean their own schools. They don't have janitors to do that. They have their kids do that. Why? When they can always do that at home, why at school? You see, kids actually pay more attention to what the teacher says as compared to the parents. So if things come in from the schools, this social change definitely comes in. So that's one thing which is very, very important. Ma'am also talked about early childhood learning and care. She focused on a point that yes, it has to be listening, speaking, reading, writing. Our focus in school is reading and writing. And yes, not that much focus on reading. Reading is the base of knowledge acquisition. We say when a child reads more, he becomes a more enlightened citizen. But sadly, reading is going down. I have done a lot of survey. I work with so many schools. I have connects with more than 25,000 teachers. And one thing is coming up very, very, unanimously, that reading is not happening. Schools do have libraries. Those library books go home, but there's no guarantee that anybody is reading. So libraries are a very important aspect. I will come to what the solution is. I'm first talking about the points that have been brought up onto this. There was a point brought up that we have to teach in the mother tongue. Very important. I've been giving this example. I am from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. I am 50 plus. My classmates or my age group mates, if you see, most of the doctors are from vernacular medium, not from English medium schools. Even the first rankers of English medium schools do not have their concepts as clear as students who have studied through vernacular medium. Because when the foundation years were there, when the foundations were being set, we were busy acquiring English rather than knowing what science or maths is. So, like literacy, numeracy is very important, and that comes in if a student is taught in the local language. But the question was, what about English? Ultimately, English is important. There was another point that was put up saying that what about the gap? So, the point is, there is a three language system. Schools which are English medium schools can continue to keep teaching in English. They are not restricted from doing that. But the idea is that we should have English and two other languages at the same level. Earlier we used to have English as higher level, say Hindi as lower level, or another language as lower level. Why? Why can't we have all languages taught at the same time at the same level? A child till the age of 6 can acquire up to 5 languages. This is not a burden. Languages can be acquired, but there's a process of acquiring a language. We've got this lady talking about, Bhavna ma'am was talking about experiential learning. That can happen in languages too. Language is not acquired when the teacher instructs. Language is acquired when students amongst themselves talk to each other. So let them talk to each other in English and the other two languages, and that is experientially. So see, coming on to this point, that the point of bringing in early childhood learning in a local language, whether it's Hindi or Marathi or Tamil or Punjabi or Gujarati, wherever, that's okay if we can have the other languages also. That there's also a focus on classical languages. India needs to promote Sanskrit. I've earlier talked about it, that other countries are promoting Sanskrit because there's such a lot of value and information available in the scriptures which are in Sanskrit. So that again is something of welcome move. I, like others have said, they second this move of the NEP, that move of the NEP. I second this local language teaching early years with under NEP, and I'm sure this will not affect English. The only thing is that you will have, because since there are going to be so many languages, learning has to be taken back home. Bhavna ma'am talked about blended learning. True. The era is of blended learning. Teachers, rightly said, need not be teachers. They have to be facilitators because you cannot know everything. And things are changing so fast. So what we need to do is we need to bring in blended learning where learning can happen in the school, learning can happen at home. You've all heard about flip learning. What is that? Instead of teaching them something today and telling them go work on it, you tell them, I'm going to teach this tomorrow, work on it, come back with your ideas. Students will use Google, they'll use any other platform, they will come with a lot of information. Discuss that. Peer group learning is something, it has to be promoted, whether it's science, whether it's history, whether it's civics, whether it's English, or whether it's any other language. So what I say is blended learning is the way forward. All our teachers have beautifully picked up using technology as a part of delivery. That is again going to work. So all we have to say is that if we really want NEP to be successful, we will have to adopt technology. Okay, we were talking about how many teachers, how can we teach so many teachers, how can we train them? We need to use technology. They can be trained. If internet or if the mobile phone can reach each and every village, that means internet has reached. Let us use the power of internet, power of technology, and help teachers acquire more knowledge or more skills and delivering onto that. Okay, coming on to the point is that there were certain points that we want to talk about, that let us look at the challenges that there are coming in. Okay, there are more languages. How do we work on that? Okay, we need to bridge the gap. Yes, people who know one language, people who do not know the language. Rightly said, when you go internationally, the world is becoming small. One language is going to control the business, that is English. So they should know that. Great. There was one more thing, is how can we come up with 50 schools every week? Huge expense. But my point is, we don't have to do that. If the government allows two shifts, infrastructure is already there, right? Right? If they can have two shifts, they don't have to do it, because believe me, building so many schools, these are not toilets that you can make one room of 4 by 4. That was an easy task. Building a school is a huge expense, but why not use the current infrastructure? So all these things can be done provided we use technology and we use what is already there. Now coming on to where I come from. See, we basically are a company which promotes language learning using technology. It is not only language. I worked with various companies as a promoter in how do we use technology in teaching. So maths, science, languages, everything is possible. But the right thing is that this technology is not to be limited only to schools. It has to be taken back home. Students should have access to learning material, practice material at home. For your information, what we started doing is during the pandemic, we were able to enroll 30,000 students to acquire English as a language. In fact, we are the first company in the world to come up with a Sanskrit language lab, where we are now helping schools, students, teachers acquire Sanskrit language in a very easy manner. All this is possible because of technology. So my submission here is that whatever NEP talks about, the way of implementing that is through technology, whether it's teacher training, whether it's increasing the capacity of schools, whether it is supporting the students to learning, whether it's experiential learning, or even if it is something that they have to acquire skills. When we talk about skills, there are simulators available. The kids can, through technology, learn on those simulators and then go out and work. Something very important, like they have said, that every child should have X number of days working with a local artisan. Good. This will help us respect those jobs. Dignity of labor. There's something else which NEP talks about, is that we should promote blue collar jobs. But that will happen only if we start respecting these blue collared workers, and then things will work. Not everybody needs to be a graduate. Not everybody needs to be a doctor, an engineer, or a chartered accountant. See, today it is easy to find a doctor, but difficult to find a plumber, right? And let me tell you, what a plumber earns is almost the same that a doctor earns if he works properly. So what NEP has brought in, one, dignity of labor. Why? How are they doing? By asking students to go and work with these people. Second, we have to keep reviving our old traditions. Tradition in teaching, tradition in learning. We used to have one guru teaching all the aspects, and they started with respecting others, started with working on your own, started with, you know, learning things through doing them. If we are able to incorporate them in a present learning system or in the present schooling system, I am sure the essence of NEP 2020 can be brought in. The only thing is, we should all, or we will all have to be ready to change, ready to accept change, ready to experiment, and all this through technology. I've worked as a technology person, I've worked with Microsoft as a trainer, I've worked with various countries, I've seen that they do. And what we do is this disruptive, very far-fetching NEP 2020 will change our country. Will the world is already looking at us for their services, for their production, for the healthcare everywhere. So this is something in the next 10 years will bring in change. Let's all give a thumbs up, start working onto it, and I'm sure we will be able to come on to that. I rest my point now, and I'll wait for the other section. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaswinderji, for that, and highlighting how and how the big impact this NEP would create in all walks of life and in education in particular. So thank you, Jaswinderji. For that, we'll come back to you with questions. Now, I would request Sunil Dangiji Sir, over to you. Your interpretation on national education policy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was listening to educationists over here, and my last speaker, sir, was saying that the technology is the one which can help us a lot for implementation of this education policy, and I do agree with that point. So, I will be discussing that what the basic purpose of education is to to have a good livelihood and to live a good life. And for that it's very important to choose the right career at the right time. If someone is not able to choose the right career at the right time, so I will take just an example of अगर एक जहाज उड़ता है, the airplane is just 1 degree off while it is taking off. So and say it is targeting, say, New York. So after in every hour it will keep on deviating more, and by the time it reaches it ended its journey, it will be in somewhere in Brazil, in South America. So if the correct, either take the right step at the right time, or you don't know where you will be landing. So, and similarly, the earlier, when the things were not available, the technology was not there, it's fair enough that we do not have. For example, now if we start from our home, and we do not ask people that should I take left from here, right from here. We just go on the Google, and Google helps a lot to reach us at the right time at our destination, because technology is available. So similarly, to choose the right career, it's a very important task. It is not just about choosing the right career, it's about choosing the life which we want to live. And it's a general observation that 90% of the people, those who are doing today, they haven't studied that. And when they were student, they didn't aim to become that. And what they have studied, and they are not doing it. So it is very important to choose the right career at the right time, so that we do not have later on, so that we can save a lot of time, and we do not have to be restlessness in the later half of our life, because there is always a midlife crisis comes when we are in the age of 35 and 40, that people start thinking what I am doing. So if we would have chosen our career at the right time, so it would have the great thing would have happened. So to solve that problem, we have been doing the research for last around 2 years, and we have come up with a product that's eMango, that's education management on the go. So it's very important to basic purpose of education to make a career, and if we must give the importance to that part very dedicatedly. We are working with the psychologists, we are working with the counselors, we are working with the IIT Delhi R&D department, and it's very important to have a solution which is very easy and engaging. Here we are talking about the student between the class 9 to 12. So it should be a very engaging thing. They should find it interesting. It should not be boring. So exploration, there's a how to find our career. There are 3 things involved. One is the explore, that and then after exploring, what is the best fit for you, and after finding the best fit, then move on the right path. These are the 3 things, then you'll reach at the right destination. So, and we are on these 3 things, we are I'll just share my screen, that how we are solving that problem. And in addition to that, we are also solving a problem which school will be start facing. The new education policy has been talking about is talking about the holistic performance, internships, how the school, and they are also talking about the career, how the school will be solving this problem. Do they have the kind of technology at the place, or are they ready for doing so? And all these things, the holistic internship kind of things, really helps to find out the right career also. So I'll just share my screen, and I'll show you the portal, that how it works. Rajul, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thanks, Rajul. This is one of the students' profile. This is eMango. This is education management on Mango. So this is a student profile. Here, student or school itself, they can do it in a. They can manage all the information. As well. For example, NEP is talking about holistic performance. So in the holistic performance, a child, apart from the academics, what for example, is a child who is a sports dance, he has a district champion, is a rank 1 in class 9th he has done. If you want to attach some certificate, he can. And similarly, that what kind of internship the child has done, what kind of aptitude. It's also talking about there are two type of aptitude. One is inborn aptitude and talent are the same thing. Inborn talent and acquired talent. Here we are talking about the inborn kind of talent over here. So a child can give our aptitude test and the score will be saved here. Similarly, he can keep on adding what kind of intent. So every information is at one place. He can access it anywhere and everywhere, which can help him to to explore the right thing, that this thing which I have done. So this kind of things interest me. So that's what. And he can also keep all his education records. For example, generally a child loses his reports card if they are in a hard copy. So these are for example, in class 11, these are the score and every subject, these are total percentage, and these are also available in the graphical format. So there are other tabs also. He can also keep other records. This is just a basic. And in addition to that, now let's come to the career exploration. After, he can just go, if he wants to know what should I do. And this is a problem with the parents also. They do not have the right platform where they can search the right career for their kids. And these platforms are not interesting if they exist. So these are kind of platforms we have. All the information is available in the audio visual format, and the information which is required by the parents as well as by the child is available here. So I think this internet some issue there, videos may not be coming. Yeah, this is the video, and what child can play this video and he can listen everything about it, and everything is here. What are the prospects of the particular career, what are the salaries, and then what are the skills required, what are the top colleges, and what are the entrance exams required for this for the class 12 student, and then after class 12 undergraduate student, these are the courses, what you do in this career. This information is also available in a audio visual format, and these are the job prospects of that particular career. These are number of jobs, and these are the then there are salaries. If someone likes this career, then simply what he can do is he can click on the shortlist, and he can shortlist this career, and that will be added into his cart. So when he can click on this career, and it will be automatically added into his cart, and so that he need not to go on the Google and search again and again what I want to do, because this career has already been added to the wish list, so it is not going. So this is the exploration part. And then after exploring what is the best fit, there is a psychometric assessment using which we can find out the aptitude, interest, and personality of the child, and that is mapped to the right career. So and the psychometric assessment which we are doing, it is the first time in the world the way we'll be doing it. It is not a boring text-based test. These will be mainly the games. A psychometric assessment has been converted into a game. A child will be playing the game, and the game are like that. We are assessing the interest and personality of the child, and using that we'll map to the right career. So that's how we are making it interesting and engaging for the child. Next is, after finding the best fit career, what are the college and exams required? So this is what are the colleges available across the globe in India, and what are their entrance criteria? And there are thousands of colleges. What are the rank of the college? What is the fees is there? For example, this is a Maulana Azad Medical College. So like this, there are all the information for the child is available on this platform. They need not to go out of this platform to start their career after class 12. So what is the rank, what is the placement kind of thing, and then what are the exams required to get into this. If they want to shortlist this career, just click on this, and this will automatically saved in their wish list. And regarding this particular college, there will automatic reminder will keep on going to the child that please fill the form, don't miss the form for this college, and all this information is available. So, and because of the kind of the courses the child, the career or the college the child is choosing, we have a kind of artificial intelligence based thing. We keep on suggesting the child the similar kind of colleges, the similar kind of careers, so that he can also explore that these are the suggestions which will keep on coming from our side. Automatically, the machine will be giving suggestions. So this is a portal where we and the student can do on their own. So and also give the homework and all those things. So this is very explore, find the best fit, and then find the colleges more on the right path. And this is here. That's all about the portal. And because of the new education policy has allowed to have a to allow the student to choose the stream. So it is making the thing. It will may make the things more confusing for the student. So such kind of platforms are very much required to solve the problem. So here we have been working with the we have and we are all, also working on what else we can include of as per the NEP in this software. And thanks for listening me, and happy career exploration. And I wish that educationists will take it very seriously and work on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunilji, for that, for sharing how technology can help us in choosing the right career path. So thank you, Sunilji, for that. Now I would request our last key speaker for the day, Mr. Xavier John. Savio, over to you. Your interpretation on national education policy.
Thank you, Rajulji. Very good afternoon, everybody. And like I was saying, I would be discussing on music. And what is commendable is that NEB has managed to address so many diverse aspects. And there is a lot of focus on the 21st century skills such as communication, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and considering the fact that music itself in the NEP this time has been mentioned over 20 times compared to the 1986 NPE. And I feel that, well-formed courses at the fundamental level uh, will help children, take or choose, proper courses and make proper choices later on. I would like to begin by talking about the United States of America, which is very much in the news right now. 13 years back, Torrance Music started from the United States of America. Right now, we are in over 200 schools, 200 public schools in the US, which are mostly cash strapped. They don't have exorbitant funds. But still, what we see is that the laboratories there, especially the music labs there, they are all, very well equipped. Every child gets an opportunity for a hands-on of a particular instrument there. And we have a lot of public schools where we are, like I said, 200 public schools, and we have like 20 guitars, 30 guitars, 30 keyboards, drums, etc. That is the tune to which we provide instruments. And not just the schools where we are, but mostly all the schools in the US, wherever there is music at a fundamental level, have these kind of instruments. And we have noticed that children at a high school level in the United States of America, wherein they are taught at a very early age, they play as well as any professional musician we have in our country. And I'm not just talking about 5 or 6 children, but at a macro level, there are so many children who are very good musicians in the USA. And I think this is the kind of shift which we also need to see in this, following the guidelines of the new NEP. And unless we allow our children a one-to-one access to the facilities, we will never see the change or value addition which we desire. And everybody knows the contribution that music has on the well-being of humans as a whole. I feel streamlining the whole idea of music as a proper learning curriculum is the need of the hour. Children between the ages of 6 and 14 are going through situations which we probably would have even never dreamt of. There are rising cases of depression, anxiety, ADHD, and ultimately, many of these situations result into suicidal tendencies. And it is rampant these days, considering the level of competition, and the pressure which the children are always having. And what happens is that music plays such a positive role as a stress buster. It is something the child can always turn back to, even if a kid has learned an instrument, probably a guitar or a keyboard, something while he's during the child's development years. He can always take this later on in his future and get back to the instrument, and it's a wonderful stress buster. There are a lot of people who started off music not wanting it to to be their career, but later on in life they feel that they're so good at the instrument they have become professional musicians. One of our very famous music directors, Mr. Ehsan Nurani, from the Shankar Ehsan Loy fame, who also happens to be a director with Torrance, started off music at a very early age in school. And then he would say that there would be music always playing in the background when he would be preparing for his examinations. And I remember one of the schools in central India where I was working. Uh, the principal of the school happened to invite me for a particular reason, and we were just discussing. And she thanked us and she told us that after the introduction of the music program, there has been a reduction of up to 100% in cases like classroom violence and property damage. A lot of children are having, they have such a lot of residual energy in them. Channelizing their energy in way would prevent situations like classroom violence and equipment damage. And I feel music can play a very important part. The instruments which we gave in that school was drumming and piano. And during the previous sessions, one of a very senior musician, educationist, he said that we just do not want to become a power. We need to have leaders, and leaders who are individuals who know their responsibilities, and leaders who have been exposed to holistic development. And this development just does not happen at the level of a graduation or in the higher classes. It starts fundamentally, it starts at the very basic level when the child is very small. Even pregnant mothers, there have been experiments conducted when the child is in the womb, and if there are pregnant mothers who listen to music, classical music, they have seen that there is a lot of development which is happening in the child, even in the unborn child. And I feel that we need to have a proper streamlined curriculum, a proper integration of practical and theoretical aspects happening following the new guidelines which are laid out by this new NEP. But again, for subjects like music, a certain level of expertise is going to be required. And we also have to accept that there is a great shortage of instructors. But here is where people like us come in, companies like us come in. We come in with an entire 360-degree solution. We provide teachers, curriculum, training, and equipment, just like what I spoke about, what we do in the US, like 25, 30 guitars, 25, 30 keyboards. We set up the music rooms, we provide the curriculum, we train the children, and this is how we go about. And I feel, that it needs to be an overall theory and application integrated program. And given the changes which we are looking at, somewhere in by the mid of this year, I think it will be possible for us to implement these programs really well after we have the rubrics of the NEP. Thank you, Rajulji. Over to you.
Thank you, Savio, for that, for sharing, how music can increase efficiency in other subjects in academics. So big thanks to all the key speakers for participating. And now time for the last part of the session, which is the question part. We have received many questions, from the participants. So we would like to present these questions to you all for your comments and perspective. So, before I start presenting questions, I'll take a minute in explaining what exactly we have been doing at school, Lalaji Solutions, and immediately after that, I'll start presenting questions. So, I would be presenting my screen, for a minute, and then we'll start sharing questions. As most of you are already aware with the School Lalaji Solutions, we are India's largest one-stop solution platform. For educational institutions, we are present in 42 cities, working with somewhere around 4,500 institutions. We help educational institutions in three ways. We help them in buying the right thing from right people at right price. We also help them in selling their old items like buses, furniture, the generators. We also help institutions in raising money, that may be in terms of fee financing or loans. why there is a need for a platform like Schoolology Solutions when you already have your whole suppliers, your team is expert, you are getting good discount, at least you believe so. Your team is efficient. Why you need a platform like Schoolology Solutions? In India, last 10, 12 years, there have been thousands of new companies which have come up with wonderful products and services in education. But one big challenge for both sides, for school leaders and for those companies is, how school leaders are going to understand their products in detail. Like, do we have time as a school leader to meet everyone, to understand every product and service available, to explore every product and service available? So here we, come in as in the picture. Schoolology Solutions. We understand your school, we understand your requirement, and we also talk to different suppliers, we negotiate with them, and then we, according to your budgetary limitations, your taste, and your actual requirement, we connect you with the right people. These are the different areas where we are helping educational institutions. We are helping in smart class procurement, uniform, insurance, diesel. We are supplying to many schools. Solar plant, language lab, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classroom, healthcare, robotics, STEM scheme labs, career counseling, stationery, digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, finance. And we take the guarantee that we'll save at least your 5 to 7%. That's kind of a 5% additional revenue generation. Just one example, in 2019, we saved 2 crore 40 lakh rupees for different schools in bus insurance. In just one category, that is bus insurance. These are some major highlights. 8 megawatt plus solar installation. We did 3,000 plus bus insurance, 400 plus smart classroom, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training program, 56 old buses, and uniform in 42 schools. By the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. We need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So big thanks. I'll end my, this presentation here. I would request Sangeeta ma'am, if I may present the first question to you.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Right. So, ma'am, the question has come from, Ms. Priyanka Tiwari. She is a teacher with Hira Lal Patel International School, Kanpur. Priyanka ji's question says, will any new subject to be added in the curriculum as per national education policy? If yes, what challenges it would offer, to teachers? So I'll divide this question two parts, ma'am. Sangeeta ma'am, what changes you perceive in the curriculum? At what degree? Number one. Second, what kind of challenges you perceive for teachers?
See, the first big change that the NEP envisages in the curriculum is not having subject specific teaching. It's more of integrated subjects, So integration, cross curricular links, thematic approach to curriculum in the primary, in the middle, definitely, and maybe at the higher level also. So this is something that NEP very emphatically comes across, and NCERT is also working on this, and therefore, for the teachers, now we come to the second part of the question, is what are the challenges for the teachers? Now, the first challenge for me as a teacher or any teacher would be my mindset, because I go with the mindset that I'm a geography teacher or I'm an English teacher or a maths teacher and I have to teach that. So that is the first challenge that I have to come out of this mindset. And more importantly, because of my educational background, so I make my knowledge of English or my knowledge of mathematics or Hindi or one subject will be stronger than my knowledge of other domains. So how do I take this integrated approach in a balanced way forward? That would mean a lot of teacher reskilling. Reskilling not just in mindset, like I said, but also in improving my own knowledge of other subjects, which means that as teachers, we will have to learn a lot more. We'll have to read, we'll have to equip ourselves and be ready to take on this new curriculum in a more holistic manner.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. I'll come back to you. Now, I would request Kavita ma'am. Kavita ma'am, this question has come from Ms. Shweta Sharma. Shweta ji is a mother teacher with the Heritage Public School, Mathura. The question says, how we can find different ideas, different and more effective ideas to make our children or make our teaching methodology more interesting and innovative? So Kavita ma'am, ma'am, you are on mute. Kavita ma'am, yeah, you are audible now.
Yeah. So can you please repeat the question?
Right. So I'll just try to rephrase the question. If you can share some process, Kavita ma'am, with the help of which teachers can find more innovative ideas, or they can make their teaching methodology more innovative and more effective.
Yeah. So the first, if we are talking about the primary education, like the basic education foundation one, then there are enough ways in which we can make the education more effective. And the best one is play-based methods, project-based methods. And when we go for the middle section, that is when we go for classes 6 onwards, then of course the project-based methods and the vocational education which they will start getting, that will of course interest the students also, because they will be able to choose something which interests them. They will be able to do something in which they have good interest along with their studies. So of course that particular vocationalization or selection of a particular subject will benefit the student, and they will of course take interest in other subjects also along with that subject. Because if you have something ki I'm going to school and I have to do this thing which is which I like very much, so they will be of course willing to go to the school and take interest in other things also. And when we talk about only the foundational stage, that if we are talking about pre-primary, so according to me, the playway method is the best method in which these small kids will, of course, enjoy the learning, and the teachers will enjoy the teaching.
Right. Right. Thank you. Kavita ji, for that. Now I would request Bhavna ma'am. The question has come from Miss Rachita Bansal. Rachita Bali Sharma ji. Rachita ji is a school coordinator with Mount Litra Z School, Kanpur. The question says, what would be the role of Hindi as a language post NEP implementation?
I believe regarding languages, one of our speaker has already briefed that it is very important to learn each and every language. As he has quoted that the doctor who has done his schooling in the regional language is the more effective than those who have completed in English. The scenario will be same. There is, I believe, there is more ho halla on this. They are more creating a hype on it, that languages and this and that. It will be a normal as it is what we are going through. The NEP says that you can it if it suits you, and if it doesn't, then it's up to you only. So it's up to, and I believe public schools are less, private schools are very high number in our country. So I believe the strategy and the this level of teaching of any language, I believe it's Hindi, English, Tamil, Urdu, Sanskrit, it will be same as it is. But as Mr. Mann has rightly quoted about Sanskrit, that we need to emphasize on Sanskrit. So I believe each and every subject which has of importance will be given a due importance to each and every subject. Either it is Hindi, because there is a concern related to English also. As one of the panelists has said that English, what will be the future of English then? So n number of queries are there, n number of things are there. So NEP is not talking about that you have to change or you have to leave or you have to do like this only. So the question is here only to just to have a strategy to develop. The focus is on the learning. Language is only the medium. If I'll speak in Hindi here in this forum, will it affect something?
इट इज ओनली हमारी भाषा से हमारी ज्ञान का पता चलना चाहिए। हम चाहे कोई भी भाषा का उपयोग करें, चाहे वो हिंदी हो, अंग्रेजी हो, तमिल हो, तेलुगु हो, उर्दू हो, रशियन हो। तो जो एनईपी कह रहा है, क्यों वो कह रहा है, उसका कहने का ये तात्पर्य है कि आप बच्चे की कॉन्सेप्ट बिल्डिंग करिए। मदर टंग पे इसलिए एम्फेसाइज है कि बच्चा जो घर के माहौल से जिस भाषा में सीख रहा है, उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग और एडेप्टेबिलिटी इस एज में ज्यादा अच्छी होगी। इसलिए वहां पर इसका जिक्र किया गया है कि आप इसके साथ जा सकते हैं। बाकी सब चीजें वैसी रहेंगी, कोई डरने की या ऐसा हिंदी चली जाएगी या कैसा स्कोप होगा, ऐसा कुछ भी सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है।
Right. Thank
Can
you.
I
Because
can I
अगर आप एक छोटा सा एक और एग्जांपल देना चाहती हूँ, मान जी ने कहा था रीडिंग इज ऑलवेज वेरी क्लोज टू मी। मेरे लिए हिंदी और अंग्रेजी दोनों की रीडिंग बच्चे के लिए बहुत जरूरी है। एक इनिशिएटिव मैंने शुरू किया और मैं चाहूंगी और भी लीडर वो कर सकें। दैट इज आई हैव स्टार्टेड विद द GGHS library on wheels. As the kids were not able to come to the school, so I have made 2 school vans, and they are coming to their society, they are going to their societies, and my kids are getting the library books for reading. And on every week we are having this practice, and the child is getting the library books at their home. So reading is still on, sir. Thank you so much.
okay.
Right. Thank you all.
Rajul ji, allow me please
Thank you,
to
Bhavna ma'am.
barge in. Please allow me, Rajul ji. I would want to add what Bhavna ma'am is saying. First of all, ma'am, my name here is wrongly put because I'm using somebody else's computer in my company. My name is Jaswinder Singh. Anyway, now talking about 2
Okay.
points. Ma'am, when we are talking about Hindi, see what is happening here, what everybody has to understand is, like you rightly said, the school will decide which language to teach in. But in areas where students are not able to understand in English, please use the local language, even if you are an English medium school. The whole point is that बच्चे को समझ आना चाहिए. किस भाषा में समझे, that is not important. But what it brings to us is that we need to see to it that हम बच्चों को 3 languages सिखाएं और तीनों languages एक जैसी आए. Now suppose कानपुर में है, because this question was from a lady in UP, आपको हिंदी तो लाना ही है, वो वहाँ की main language है. इंग्लिश हो गया, हिंदी हो गया, तीसरी कोई और एक लैंग्वेज लीजिए. ठीक है, so that is how this is working on, and I don't think it is a huge thing because people have not understood the NEP. They're thinking that हमें इंग्लिश के टीचर को निकाल के हिंदी पढ़ाने वाले टीचर को लाके साइंस पढ़ाना है, मैथ्स पढ़ाना है. वैसा नहीं है. लेकिन आप समझ लीजिए, अगर एक टीचर है, वो सपोज तमिलनाडु में रह रही है, उसे तमिल तो आता ही होगा अंग्रेजी के अलावा. So you don't have to retrain the teachers. They already know that language. The concepts can be explained in the local language. So this is not a big task. It is only the mindset, point 1. Point 2, on which I want to tell you, Bhavna ma'am, you said that reading is very important. In fact, I did not talk about that. Reading, what we have done is, you see, reading is happening, books are going home, but whether it's being read or not, it's a question. So what we have done is
No, we
come
have
up-
assessment, sir, for this. We have
yeah,
assessment.
I'll come to that, ma'am. I'll tell you what we started doing is, as an option, we have got a digital library done with 150 books, 15 books for each standard. These books can be digitally given to the child. He can even read it on the book, on the mobile phone. Plus, they can record the story. One is when they listen to something and then they record that interest coming, reading happens, and are reading that आदत पड़ जाती है reading की. So that is happening is, so if we have time, I will personally connect with you and try to show you that technology can do anything. There was a question by somebody. Yes, we are not replacing teachers, but we are making teachers life easy, because as it is, मैं आपको एक point कहता हूँ. Rajul ji, you make cut off my question if I'm taking too much time, right? Okay. The point is that teachers are teachers. Had 24 hours. Teachers today have 24 hours. Our teachers, the curriculum used to change after a decade, 10 years. Now things change every year. वही teacher, I'm taking ladies as an example, वही सास, वही ससुर, वही husband, वही बच्चे, घर का चूल्हा, and office school भी है. Where is the time to learn all this? So if they take support of technology, ये सारी चीजें उनको आ सकती हैं, because those 24 hours are 24 hours, and those are what we have to do at home has to be done. So like आप कपड़े धोने के लिए मशीन लगा ली, बर्तन धोने के लिए मशीन लगा ली, सफाई करने के लिए मशीन लगा ली, इसी तरह नॉलेज को advance करने के लिए, to get into more information, we will have to use machine, which is the technology, and I say nothing better than internet to learn things, and that can be taken up. But Raju ji, I rest my point, but if you give me that question, I'll be happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
I afraid we won't have time for that. Jaswinder ji, next question to Ruchi. Ruchi ji, this is a very serious question, Ruchi ji. This question from Preeti Sikarwar. Preeti ji is a teacher with SRVS Sikandarpur Chandoli, Uttar Pradesh. The question says how we can improve our education system in a rural part. So if we can suggest some two suggestions, Ruchi ji.
Thank you, Rajul.
Two ideas.
As you said, very serious and question to us. Yeah, it's so. How we can implement it in far remote
How we can improve? How we can improve that? Your two ideas.
So the first, I think, would be the most important for me is the connectivity, bonding, because in the rural areas, parents are not so well educated. So just we, the teachers, the workers, they have to reach out to them, and this is all our duty to make them understand what the NEP is going to offer and how it is going to shape and the great and sound foundation for their child. So this is the bonding, the integration, the coordination between the parents, the families, and the school teachers, the educators. I think this can play and resolve this kind of problem in far remote areas. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Ruchi ji, for that. That was a very important suggestion. Now I would request Mr. Sunil Dangi. Sunil ji, this NEP offers a huge flexibility in terms of choosing subject. And when a lot of people say that when you have more options, so it brings more confusion. So how do you assess it in terms of choosing career programs? At later stages for those students, do you think like this kind of flexibility will increase confusion?
Rajul, I would like to, before answering the question, this is my personal opinion that the basic purpose of education is to make us to earn good livelihood, and we should live happily. Now, to hit both of these things, it's very, very important that you can earn the livelihood even if you're doing something which does not suit your interest and personality. But to be happy, you need to do what suits your happiness and which suits your interest and personality. If you choose a right career in this way, then you will be able to earn your livelihood and you will remain happy as well. Now, next, come to your question. Definitely, more the options, more the confusion. There is no doubt about it, right? So earlier there was lesser option to the students. Now the more options have come after new education policy, and that will come up with the new confusions among the students. And to resolve those confusions, the kind of platform which I just shown to you people will be required, and the student will have to be in a habit of DIY, do it yourself kind of thing. That's how they will be able to choose the right careers for themselves. So that's what my take is. That we can take the help of the technology at a lot of places. Thank you. That's my.
Thank you, Sunil ji. And with this, we come to the last question of the day. I would request Savio, if I may present this one to you. As you represent that, music in particular, art education and music in particular, a lot of people say that, as Kavita ma'am also said during a talk, that, arranging resources would be a challenge. So how do you see that? You yourself said that, we don't have trainers in music, so let's say, if, we have 3.5 lakh private schools in country. So let's say if 50,000 in 50,000 schools, 10 students start looking for music, start choosing music as their subject. So how they are going to arrange that infrastructure? What do you think?
There are a few parts to this answer. So let me just tell this to you one by one. See, the government has also made some guidelines, wherein they have asked to involve the local talent, not specifically even if they are music teachers, but topics such as arts, fine arts, dance, music, and yeah, there are a lot of local performance. And these artists can be involved to conduct a short-term course, probably of a 3 month duration or a 6 month duration, and this could be done in places where you do not have proper teachers for music. Secondly, what can be done is that there are many courses like body percussion, home percussion, beatboxing, songwriting, Hindustani vocals, Western vocals. All these subjects can be taught without the need, for purchasing instruments. Of course, we do understand that there, in remote areas, there's a lot of dearth of finances. There's a shortage of funds and there's shortage of equipment. So this is how you can also teach music to children, because this is what we also did during the lockdown. Many children were just stuck at home and they did not have instruments, they did not have equipments. So we formulated these courses to tackle these difficult times, and it was accepted and received very well among the children. So this is something which can be done. You could contact us for this information. We'd be more than happy to share it with you. And what can also happen is that you can also go the satellite way. Digitally, these courses can also be taught to the children if it is very difficult, to come to remote areas, the core remote areas, especially in the country. With internet connectivity, this problem can definitely be solved.
Right. Thank you, Savio, for that. And with
You're
this, we
welcome.
come to the end of this session. Now, I'll quickly request all our speakers if we can have your concluding remark. Also, I would request, we have established this practice, while sharing your concluding remark, if you can share some idea, that you would like to implement if you get a chance to become Minister of Education of our country. I would request our key speakers, and I'll begin with the Bhavna ma'am, if I may begin with you, your concluding remark, and what would be your idea as Minister of Education?
I will say that, and I believe a teacher is a curator. And if I would become a minister, I will certainly tell my teachers to just focus and change your mindset. Right now, I have been interviewed so many teachers wherein they have taken this profession not by choice, by chance. I want teacher by heart. I want a person who can teach with passion. So I'll start with a very uh, kind of a good tight scrutiny recruitment cell for hiring good teachers, because
Right.
teachers are the actual warriors.
Right.
Being a leader, I can think, I can plan, but my actual warrior, my actual warrior is my teacher. If whatever I have planned, whatever I thought of, is not being implemented in a right manner, as per my vision, it will not work. So if I will be a minister, I will be having a very nice recruitment policy for the teachers.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the government has that policy for its government teachers, but you would try to create an environment where bright people, would get attracted towards this profession. So thank you, Bhavna ma'am. And now I would request Ms. Ruchi Lavanya ji. Ruchi ji, your concluding remarks, and what would be your idea as Minister of Education?
Thank you, Raju, once again. My idea is, if I get a chance to be a one-day minister, though the things are not really seems to be possible in just one day, yet this is my wish that I would lay more emphasis, and I would definitely carve out some policies to focus on, like, every citizen to have the mindset, not just merely a citizen, to have a mindset of guru, a nation builder. So just to have the lit some like policies like for whole of the nation to transform them from merely a citizen to the guru. That's all, Rajul, from my side. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Ruchi ji, for that. Now I would request Savio John or Savio, if we can have your concluding remark and what would be your idea if you become a Minister of Education? Savio, do we have your presence? I would request Mr. Sunil Dangi or Sunil ji, your concluding remark and what would be your idea as Minister of Education? Right. So now I'll request Jaswinder sir. Jaswinder sir, your concluding remark and what would be your idea as Minister of Education?
Yeah, thank you, Rajul. So my concluding remark on NEP 2020 and today's discussion with everybody, um, NEP is in the air. Everybody's talking about, but a little scared. Let's have more of these discussions, and I'm sure people will start accepting it. By the way, this government doesn't give you an option of not accepting it, so we have to do it. Let's do it with heart. Okay, teacher training, teacher assessments, student learning, student assessments, all of these are important. And I'll again go back, don't shy away from technology. That's a supporting thing. Okay, that's one thing. Now coming on to what I would do in one day. Yes, like rightly said by my one of the panelists, is that it's too less a time. But even if I have one day, what I will do is something that I want to share with you. If you can give me 1 minute to share my screen, right? So what I want to do is I want to actually make teachers. Can you see this on the screen, everybody? Rajul ji?
Yes, we
Okay,
can
it's
see
coming.
that,
It's
sir.
coming. Okay.
Yes, we can
So
see that, sir.
okay. So what I actually want to shift to some other page. Before that, what I want to say is that I would want to make teachers, educators, the first citizens of a country. They need that respect because, like the last speaker said, I would want to have the best of the teachers, but best of the people have to become best of the teachers. You can't by machine change a teacher to become the best of a teacher. They have to be good. So if you want to attract good people, you need to give them good respect. That's one thing. But what I'm also coming on to this, that is, along with that, I propose this. Can you see this on the screen? I propose, like doctors have DR, engineers have ER, chartered accountants have CA. Why can't we have an ED? So through this forum, I've been promoting to everybody is that let's actually go and let teachers, educators be identified, be respected. And I'm sure if this is done, a lot of people who are good to be teachers will come into this profession, will make this as a preferred profession, and that will change. No amount of policies, no amount of technology, no amount of infrastructure will work if our teachers are not good enough. So I propose through this day of being a minister of education to identify, recognize, and reward teachers and make them the first class citizens of a country. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaswinder ji. Now I would request Kavita Khanna ma'am. Kavita ma'am, your concluding remark and what would be your idea if you become Minister of Education?
So I would start regeneration from the grassroots level. I would like if it's teachers' appointment, providing technology to the remotest area, or to be more focused about toddler learning. The basic thing would be that I will make sure that kids are more independent. This is what all we need. The kids, the students in future, they need to be independent. And if we talk about teachers, they must get the due respect which the gurus were getting in the past. They were getting that respect, and nowadays that is the basic thing, that the gurus, the teachers are not getting that respect. They should be given that respect, that due respect, and it should come from everyone, everybody, whether it's the case of finance or it's any other case. Teachers should be getting the respect. That is also. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavita ma'am. And with this, I would request Sangeeta ma'am. Sangeeta ma'am, your concluding remark and what would be your idea if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Okay. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity and making me to think like the Minister of Education. Well, for me, today I will share you a screenshot on my phone of the today's newspaper. I will like to, how do I share? Yes. I'll bring this closer. Okay, and we have the minister's picture here, Mr. Manish Sisodia, Education Minister of Delhi. And the headline says, government schools pull Delhi to top of Niti Aayog national rankings. Now, what is the transformation that has happened? It is one, infrastructure, more accountability, all that goes unsaid. But I think the real transformation and the real change that has happened, what we see is that the minister has been very inspiring. Manish Sisodia ji has been very inspiring. He has reached out to the teachers, and I think that is the role model. That is the model I will adopt, that I will reach out to my teachers. I'll try to inspire them. I will try to make them learners. And then there is going to be no looking back. If I can ignite that passion in my teachers, there is going to be no looking back. Then I don't need the classrooms. I don't need technology. Learning is going to happen, because learning happened in the Gurukuls because of the passion and the knowledge of the teachers. And if I can ignite that as the minister, my job will be done. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Sangeeta ma'am, just a moment, Rajulji. Sangeeta ma'am, we happened to do a project with Manish Sisodia. Couple of years back, they asked us to train all that Hindi medium school children to speak in English. We did that for 12,000 students. I have seen the kind of ground level work that he does.
Yes,
and the kind of work that we had to do. So we were very happy when we worked with them. And that same thing we are now doing in 2 other states, telling those governments, whether it's this government, that government, listen to what this guy says. Do it. He has set an example, a precedent. So people will have to learn, governments will have to learn that.
Absolutely. Our ministers must feel for the people and the children from their heart.
Yes,
if they feel from their heart, that is it. And I can vouch for Manish Sisodia ji. I work closely and I can vouch for that.
Sure, ma'am.
That is the model that I think every education minister needs to take.
True, ma'am.
This is above party lines. I'm not advocating any particular party. I'm talking of a role model here.
He's done good. He's done good. That's it.
Absolutely. But I would recall one line which Bhavna ma'am said, that capacity to learn is a gift. So every education minister needs to have a gift.
Absolutely. No, there is. It is a gift. Every human being is blessed with this gift.
Right.
Let us accept the fact that every human being is blessed with the capacity to learn.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, many ministers, many government have refused to accept the need for such kind of, proactive
because
involvement.
you don't want your people to be empowered. If you want your people to be empowered, the best tool is education. All other tools will follow.
Absolutely.
That's what the Britishers did. They did not want us to learn.
They took the tool away from us. Other ministers, everybody is following the same route. So we have to, that transformation change has to also come.
Absolutely. So with this, we come to the end of this very special session. I thank Sangeeta Krishnan ma'am, Kavita Khanna ma'am, Bhavna Chibber ma'am, Ruchi Lavanya ji, Jaswinder Singh ji, Sunil Dangi ji, Savio John ji for participating. I also thank other participants for joining us and being through with us for the entire session. So thank you all. This is the end of the day and this is the end of the session. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you everyone.